It's nearly midnight, but the shift isn't over. For Ashar, the gig economy is a relentless cycle of notifications and quotas that leaves little room for rest. Then a new order pings. The delivery address is tucked away in the Old City, a district of narrow alleys and dim lights that most riders avoid after dark. Shh. He mounts his bike and pulls out into the street. The headlight cuts a thin path through the darkness as he begins the long ride toward the city's edge. As he rides, the modern cityscape begins to dissolve. Bright storefronts and wide avenues are replaced by peeling walls and a maze of tangled overhead wires. The further he goes, the more the city changes. He is moving away from the connected world and into a place where the streetlights are few and the silence is heavy. Deep in the old district, his technology begins to glitch. The blue navigation line on his screen starts jumping erratically, unable to find a clear path through the narrow streets. The app's robotic voice cycles through, recalculating in a frustrating loop, offering no real direction. Ashar finds himself circling the same foggy intersection. The street lamp overhead flickers with a low hum, but the road ahead remains empty. As he tries to refresh the map, the battery indicator on his phone begins to drop rapidly. His primary link to the outside world is fading. He stops the bike. The only sounds are the cooling engine and the wind whistling through the rusted shutters of long-closed shops. The digital guide has failed him completely. Now he's navigating by instinct through a part of the city that feels like it belongs to a different era. He finally reaches the end of a narrow alley where the GPS says the trip should end. The engine cuts out, and the quiet returns. The house before him is a ruin. Moss covers the cracked plaster, the windows are shattered, and a heavy, rusted padlock hangs from the gate. No one could have ordered food from here. Confused, he pulls out his phone one last time to call the customer. He needs to explain that the address is abandoned, but the call won't go through. A flat recorded message informs him that the number is switched off and no longer in service. With the app frozen and the customer unreachable, Ashar stands alone in front of the gate. There is no digital solution for this. He has to look closer at the house itself. As he shines his phone light across the entrance, the beam reflects off something small pinned to the wooden door. It's a scrap of paper, yellowed with age and held in place by a single rusted pin. It looks like it has been clinging to the wood for years. Ashar leans in, and the light reveals a name handwritten in Urdu. It's his own. The note is a message of desperation, stating that the writer could not find peace until Ashar stood on this doorstep. At the bottom of the page is a date from 12 years ago, the very night Ashar's grandfather left home and never returned. A delivery app brought him to this specific coordinate, but the message waiting for him has been here since his childhood. Ashar sits down on the cracked doorstep, the note trembling in his hand, as he looks at the house he was never supposed to find. This is the ancestral home his family lost years ago. The details of the sale and the move were always kept from him, hidden behind years of silence. His phone gives a final 1% warning, and the screen goes black. The digital world has finally disappeared. In the sudden darkness, the map he was following doesn't matter anymore. Now he finally understands exactly where he is. He kicks the motorcycle back to life. He isn't looking for the next delivery anymore. He's heading home to ask his mother the questions he has spent a decade avoiding. Ashar rides back through the alleyways, leaving the abandoned house behind, finally carrying the one thing he was meant to deliver: the truth about his own history.